In this video, we're going to examine a painting disaster and see if we can recover from it. This is what happened when I tried to use a white rattle can to paint the underside of my Battlefront A-4 Skyhawks for NAM and Team Yankee. Join me on this journey to try and save them. The subject of our disaster is VUS-BX-19, a special order box set of a flight of two A-4 Skyhawks. I actually bought these to proxy for Harriers in support of my Australians in Team Yankee. They weren't cheap, but I'd bought them on sale and they'd been in my stash for a while. The kit comes with a great selection of stores, so I mixed them up a bit to have different things on the wing hardpoints. The nose of this kit seems to be cast for an aircraft of a different scale. It's just too big and can't really be trimmed to a pleasing shape. But that's pretty par for the course in my experience of Battlefront resin and metal aircraft. I did my best and sanded, filled and carved them. So far so good. Then this happened. I tried to paint the undersides white with a rattle can. White is a tricky colour to brush paint, and I thought a quick base coat of this from a spray can would get me started. I shared these pictures online and the consensus seems to be that the can was too cold. It was the change of season here, and despite being about 20 degrees C when I sprayed, it had been down to 3 overnight. Rattle cans are sensitive to humidity and temperature and need to be shaken well to work best. Some people suggested standing the can in warm water for a few minutes in cold weather. The first coat was a bit patchy and had drawn back from the panel lines. The second coat to try and fix this ended up with a splattered, thick, claggy mess. Disaster. Partly technical failure, partly trying a shortcut, and partly poor skills on my behalf. There was nothing for it. They couldn't be saved from here. They needed to be either binned or stripped back so I could try and salvage them. I've used Dettol, a household disinfectant, to strip plastic kits before. I didn't know how it would react with resin and metal. Time to find out. There are other products that strip paint like Simple Green, oven cleaner, brake fluid and so on. I haven't tried any of these. Maybe let us know your experience in the comments if you've used them. Here's one of the Skyhawks submerged in enough Dettol to completely cover the miniature. It's only just gone in. We'll see how the miniature survives and how long it takes to strip the paint. One thing I did learn was to use gloves, as the Dettol will burn and strip the skin off your hands without protection. After soaking about 5 hours in a scrub with a toothbrush, this is the result. Most of the paint is gone. I just need to use a toothpick to get at some of the paint still in the recessed panel lines. 3 more to go. In the end, I left each one soaking for about 24 hours. This softened the paint and there was no damage to the resin or metal parts. After 5 days, a big storm and several power failures, all the paint was stripped. Time for the stripped miniatures to get a bath. I had washed the Dettol off them as part of the stripping process, but this wash was to catch any residue and get them ready for painting again. Prior to painting, I wash all my miniatures, plastic or resin, in dishwashing liquid and warm water. An old toothbrush scrubs away any dirt, chemical residue and skin oils. This should give the best chance for the primer to stick to the surface. A rinse in clean water makes sure all the detergent is washed off. The last step before painting is to let the miniatures thoroughly dry. Most of the time they can air dry fine here. So here they are, my disaster kits stripped back and ready for the paint queue again. It was a fiddly and time-consuming process, but was the only way to save these kits from disaster. The weather in Australia has turned cold properly now. It was 1 degree last night. I think I might brush paint some primer on these, just to be safe. Anyway, that was my journey to try and save these miniatures using the Dettol stripping method. It seems to work fine for resin and metal kits as well as plastic. That's good to know. Have you used another product? Did it work for you? Leave your experiences in the comments, and thanks for watching. If you enjoy Fog of War videos, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss a new video.